This is what I like about life. I don't always like it. I tell you, I like it right now. My dad has left. He's going to have his surgery removed. They're going to cut out this growth. Now, I think that the cancer or the growth is an embodiment of what Mr. Rick, and I'm gonna capture Mr. Rick's presentation because he showed up like 1 minute, you know, because the way the interconnectedness of what is positive, what is loved, what is family, but what is negative, what is not family, what is not self, and entities, it's totally being addressed because there's going to be something removed, and it's going to be a physical surgery, and it's also going to be a metaphysical surgery because I've identified this in my life and I'm calling it out for what it is, because that's part of this awakening process. It's getting down to seeing what things actually are, which is needed, because we got a lot of mind control and brainwashing, and we all have a little bit of it. Part of this conditioning, because they've run it so hard for so long, and some people can't even think for themselves at all, and they're not putting the two to two together. They're not noticing that, hey man, hey, there seems to be something going on with this medical situation. Seems to be some double entendre going on there. It's pretty obvious. We can't talk about it because we'll be banned, obviously. So I can't say that directly, but I think you may know what I'm getting after. So I just want to let you know today that we're participating at cutting it out.
That's the problem, which some of us have. But it doesn't matter. It's enough. So you go, yeah, entity right there. Yeah, I got it. No. You put a communication line to that entity. Now, you want to be the entity's facilitator, counselor, spiritual counselor for entities. You, not me, you. And so you got to put on your good guy hat, and you're okay, and you're kind and caring and decent and loving, and you give a shit, and you talk to this unlucky part of you that isn't you, and you look at it as if it is another. All right, but you don't know coming right out of the fucking gate whether it's one entity or it's a cluster.
It's a cluster.
Is it more than one? It doesn't even know if it's more than one. Just like 5 years ago, you didn't know you had an entity. You were more than one. Right? There's more than one in your space giving you thoughts and feelings. Well, the same with the entity. So one of the first things you can ask the entity.
Amen.
First, I normally close my eyes, and then you imagine focusing on that place in your system where you sense the entity is, and you recognize it. You use your wild imagination. Your imagination is extremely powerful. They are affected by your imagination. Your imagination alone can make them go away. But because your imagination is what you think is your imagination, your inner dialogue, your inner talk, your inner speech is coming from your imagination. You have to imagine you're saying these things for them to be said in your consciousness.
Amen.
So it's what you're thinking, it's what you're imagining, what you're saying to yourself, and then thus what you're believing. So if you believe you got entities, you do. Yeah. So your imagination is incredibly powerful in this way. So you're going to use your imagination in very logical ways so that you can walk yourself through the idea and the belief that you can get rid of this thing. because it's there because you're unlucky. But it's not really you that's unlucky. It's this thought form that maybe used to be a really human being, got into some shit with girlfriend, or the girlfriend's unlucky because she got in some shit with her boyfriend. And we're talking spiritual power beings flying around the multiverse, right? And they get together. You know, this what I said earlier. Okay, so here you are. So, but you're going to be kind, considerate, decent, granting a lot of beingness to them and importance. And you go, oh, I. And you go, imagine like, remember the old days when you had a can with a string on it, and you talk to your buddies, your girlfriends, like, you know, telephone. I don't know, fucking dinosaur, you're old school, right? When I was a kid, they'd play with these little tin cans and strings, right? Now, I play with my fucking cell phone. What are you talking about, motherfucker? Anyway, you put in a line, a communication line, to the entity, and you ask telepathically. You can say it in words, but it's inner dialogue. You can say,
you could say goodbye. That's all I really wanted to. I love this dude. He is so fucking funny. And I love how people that are truly free have really raunchy language. You know? I know how some people pick that up, and your school teacher type marm, your fucking Sunday school teacher lady, because they can't do that. It is something that isn't bad. It's desired. It gets you laughing. And, you know, I'm just going to identify that we have this going on collectively in our life, in our home, and we're processing it out. My dad, being older and more rigid in the mind control, had it affect his throat chakra center, the blue. And I've been looking at it like that. It's primary color blue. It's in there. It affects me, and I have it in my life. We're saying bye to it. You know, the guy Bear, he was going to give my dad the ride, and he would call. You know, he's got like a very, you know, we're already ready to go at the time. But then at 5:12 in the morning, he's blowing up my phone. And I didn't answer it. I've been up all night. I've had horrible fucking heartburn and stomach problems. And just barely now am I able to go back to sleep. But I'm doing this. So I'm going to put this together and chill out. But if you understand what's going on here and what he's addressing, then it'll be useful to you, because all these things are happening because of the will to power and the will to make it through the change. And, you know, knowing that we're going through this process as a world, we're going through the evolutionary process, we're shedding off some negativity, and we're already aware of these spiritual fuzzballs and shit. And if someone else is encountering that in their own life, these elements that aren't the self but are attached, to be able to cut that little string on his old school phone device, his Candigan. The Candigan, you got to sever the cord. And it does help if you do it in a polite manner. You don't have to be an asshole to take care of business. In fact, it behooves you not to.